This is Morten from Horizon finishing first last day. It's been exhausting but great days here in Quickborn, just north of Hamburg in Germany. And right now I'm actually on a very nice booth with a company called Impressed, and I'm talking to Karsten. Karsten, what is Impressed?
Impressed is a software company. We are based in Hamburg and we're existing since 30 years.
Wow.
Now it's just this year 30th anniversary.
Did you have a good party then?
A small one.
A small
not,
one.
Not
okay.
that big. We had a nice evening with our partners and our employees and colleagues and chefs.
Sounds nice. I take that 30 years ago the workflow automation scene looked completely different from today, right?
Yeah. When we started, we were reselling plugins like Rotate It.
Oh, really?
To be able to rotate images in free angles in Express.
Isn't it just amazing to think of? Because I don't know how long time you worked there, but I mean, if you think of 30 years, it doesn't sound like a very long time, right? But when you put things in perspective, right, it just feels like, okay, so many things have changed, right?
Yeah. When I was started to work in the industry, it was 1995.
Okay.
And I went to Impressed in 2001. So for me, it's like 21 years now working for Impressed.
And Impressed, is that a company that focuses entirely on the automation and workflow part, or what do you do?
We are mainly a reseller for Enfocus. We're the biggest Enfocus reseller worldwide. Like Pitstop and Enfocus Switch, who are still our cash cows, of course. And we are distributing different vendors like Ultimate, like Kim, like Color Software, of course, and Color Logic.
So everything around the pre-press and workflow automation, basically, right? Okay. When you look at some of the discussions that have been here at the Horizon Finishing First, obviously, is that now it's, I mean, first it was pre-press that was automated, then it was the machines that automated. Now it's also the binding machines automated. From a technological perspective, how difficult is that?
For us, actually, it's pretty easy because we are working with a vendor called Ultimate from Canada, and they have with the so-called bindery module the possibility to integrate the post-press machines into the workflow. And this is one thing we really have learned the last years, that pre-press workflow is not stopping at imposition of sending the files to the DFEs or to the output workflows like Fuji or Aqua or Heidelberg, but we have to include, for example, the bindery machines or the smart stacker.
Yeah, and I mean, we have filmed a lot of installations with InfoStrip. We were visiting printing companies both in Canada and in the US and also in Europe. So I always hear that one of the issues with workflow automation, also with InfoStrip and the new bindery thing here, is basically that you don't see anything. It's just behind the scenes, right? Yeah. Is that, I mean, if you buy a new machine, it's very easy to see. If you buy workflow software, it's more the output you buy, basically.
It is.
How difficult is it to have that? I mean, of course, you talk to the IT people and to the pre-press people in the organization, but is management, do they understand the value of what you're doing?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's pretty easy to communicate because we have like use cases like for my poster you see here.
I know my poster as well. Yeah. Okay.
We just made a use case with them, and they have like 100% automated workflow these days. Yeah. And they're using their own ERP system. They're using Switch as an automation engine. They're using Ultimate for imposition and using Ultimate Bindery to create the Lake Rim JDF for the Smart Stacker, which they're using very extensively. And what we're doing is just one more thing. We have like a printed sheet here, and we can look at it in the workflow when we're finished with this. Yeah. And what we're doing is we're handing over the PDF. Yeah. Then it's imposed. Yeah. And what Ultimate Bindery is doing, they're encoding the information for the Smart Stacker and the
so
barcode.
That basically the barcode is, so that recalls the program on the Smart Stacker in this example, right?
Yeah. Okay. And we are exporting the JDF for the Smart Stacker and the Smart Stacker hot folder. And the Smart Stacker has a scanning unit at the beginning on the machine. And it's being scanned. And then the corresponding JDF is loaded.
Of course, because then you have the job data in the PDF and you have the job data in the JDF, and basically that is it may sound like a very simple automation part, but of course there's something behind the scenes.
But that's the hardest part.
Yeah, because I mean basically to make sure that it fits each other, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So I would love to see that on the screen in a moment. I was just wondering, Karsten, because before we get to it, you have been talking about Enfocus. Everybody knows Enfocus, InfoStrip. Everybody, Ultimate, everyone know Ultimate as well. But what we see here on your screen is something called Impressed Workflow Server. So that sounds like something that you have developed.
Right, that's something we developed because we always had the point with our customers that they are working as a white label printer, they have their own web shops, they have an own MIS system. So what they are getting is, for example, 3 or 4 different flavors of XML or JDF files.
And we love flavors, right?
Everybody loves flavors, right?
But not in the workflow.
Not in the workflow,
No.
not in the workflow.
Yeah.
So we decided to build a middleware. I think it's the best term to use for what we did. It's called
so basically you take all the different inputs from different white label printers or different data sources, to say that, and basically uniform it into something that is like easy to interpret and manipulate, right?
Right. Yeah. And so what we did was we created our own data model, which is based on XJDF and PrintTalk, and we are normalizing every metadata which is coming in to our own data model, which is based on XJDF. So the workflows behind that are always the same, and they're driven by dynamic values.
And I was thinking that makes a lot of sense, because basically when you go to customers, new customers, and you have this middleware, basically you make it much, much easier for them to have a lot of different sources going into one. Otherwise, they would have to handle all of the workflows differently, right?
Right.
Is that something that has been on the market for some time now, or is it new? Or
It's pretty new.
It's
pretty
new.
new.
Okay. So the customers you have right now, I take that they use it intensively, but if it works, you don't really do anything, right? It's more like something that you have in the background, right?
It's an automation process which is working in the background, and the most customers are just looking at the dashboard, and if files are being processed with a warning or with an error, then of course they look at it, but most files, like 80/20 regular.
So just to get everything 100% clear, when you have a job or jobs from different sources, it comes into the Impress workflow server. And from here you distribute it to the workflow that can be Ultimate or Switch or whatever workflow software you basically interface to, right?
Yeah, but we are using the Impress workflow server mainly to define the workflows, how the files are to be processed, and we are triggering using Switch the softwares, for example, who are doing the color management, who are doing the pre-flighting.
So you can basically route it specifically,
right?
And you use the routing, you use your Switch for that,
right?
So should we have a look? Can you show me how it works?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Is there anything to see?
My pleasure. Of course. Okay, so we started talking about how the files are being loaded into Impress Workflow Server, and what we are doing is we are having import filters, we're calling it. So we're taking the metadata and we're taking the production files. And the most challenging thing, as a matter of fact, is to glue the metadata to the production files. That's really the most hard
because of the flavored XML data, or is it more because
one thing, and the most hardest thing is that most MIS systems are not able to reference the production files within the JDF. It's easy if you work with web shops, because you load your file up to the web shop and then they're exporting an XML file. Yeah. That's easy. Yeah. But so that's the most challenging thing.
So the problem is the MIS system is basically, if you have something, for example, based on, let's say, Microsoft services, they don't have the production data in the MIS system. They only have a SKU and a price and whatever, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. So you need to map the SKU with the actual job data.
Yeah.
I get it.
So the first thing we can do, of course, there are systems who are able to do this, but what we can do is we integrate the metadata, and then we are gluing the production files using the Impress Workflow Server to the PDF. So that's about it. Okay, let's say we are done with that. Then we have an overview. We have a dashboard. This is what we see here. And what we can do is we can see, of course, the list of the files which are to be produced. We have different rows. We can name them.
So what we see here, that is Auftrag. That is a job.
That's the order.
Yeah. So basically, when you click on it, can you see the?
Yeah, we can change the language, of course.
Okay, we should be able to see it. But so okay, now Auftrag, let's change the order. Wow, big thing, right?
A big function. Come on.
How did you do that? I mean, that's fantastic. Maybe you should automate that feature, right? So this is, of course, just the job ID. But can you then see the data if you click on the? Okay.
Yeah. So what we have here, we have the order, we have the products, we have partial products, and we have the files which are linked to the...
And the partial product is that if it consists, for example, of a cover and content? Okay.
Yeah. Great. Okay. And this is why we are using PrintTalk as the data model, which is based on top, because with PrintTalk you are able to have in an order different kind of products.
Okay, so they
is
can be
not able
split
in
up
JDF.
into whatever you need. Yeah. Okay. That could also, if you have like different types of paper within the book block, or if you have different finishing or varnishes and things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is the one thing, and what we can do is we can double click on it, and we have information about the pre-flight.
Yeah.
So we see like if
Is
there
this
are errors in there.
So this is not okay. So this is not the metadata. This is basically the output of the pre-flight here.
This is just right. We're using Colors PDF Toolbox server for the quick check, and we're just reading out the separations.
There's a warning there. What is this? This is the
thickness of
thin
the
line.
lines.
Yeah. Is that still a problem, or is it only when you use CTP? Or because I know that in the past, if you were less than 0.5, then you had problems with the CTP, but in digital, it's not a big problem, is it? No.
As far as I know, not. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not on the printing side. You're just on the software side.
It's easy.
Yeah. So the warnings they just show up because you defined it should warn you,
Right.
basically, right? Yeah.
Right. And we are then having information about the order, like the customer and all this stuff, about the product, the name of the product, cards,
And
whatever.
you even have pricing. Is that because you have just been delivered the price from the MIS system, or okay?
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do that the system calculates some kind of okay.
No. It's just displaying the values
That you got from
the web
somewhere.
shop. Of,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we're having here another dashboard. You can see if files are being processed, if they have different states like error, like done. So now they're all in the processing state. And to go back to our order we want to look at, we just looked at the printed sheet.
Yeah.
That's it. So this is the,
So that is like
the postcard.
before it's stepped out, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting here the information about the product. And what we can do now is, if we go to the jobs, we can go to the order and to the corresponding data. And now I say I want to impose the file. So we are using, in this case,
But now you do it manually, but that is what is automated, basically.
of course,
Yeah.
of course. I can do it this way, or I can just send it to the imposition workflow. Just click on OK. Then it's being handed over, and Ultimate is reading out the information from the metadata and knows it's a two-sided postcard.
Yeah.
So it has to, and the sheet is like this.
Like the one we had
50-70.
before. Yeah.
We can place it, and then it takes a moment. The file is being handed over to Ultimate. It's gone now because it's not in the workflow anymore, because it's now
it's not being
at
processed
input
yet.
strip.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit before it's being been imposed.
Do you get stressed when it doesn't show up in the demo right away?
No. I mean, it's ready already because
I was just joking, Karsten. Yeah. It's always, I remember when I do demos myself, it's sometimes like, okay, I thought the computer was fast, and when people are standing around me, why is it so slow, right?
Yeah. But we are used to doing live presentations.
Okay,
and
so-
we have different vendors who ask us, you do it live on a trade show?
Oh,
I say, of
yeah,
course,
of
because
course,
we
yeah.
know what we're doing.
Yeah. And as you said, here now has made a step and repeat, and you have got the barcode for the program recall of the
Right.
on the smart stacker.
Right. This is the barcode for the smart stacker. This is the
I have a question. One of the things I have noticed when I visit printing companies is that it's getting more and more common to have like last minute imposition. So you basically only do the imposition when you have a free machine, basically, right? Does that mean that you can also very easily have dynamic barcoding for because I mean that is important that if you don't have the smart stacker for this particular job, but you have another kind of thing, maybe you should be able to. But you can do that.
You can do
easily.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay, so it's step and repeat. We have the barcode information, and what we are doing then is we are sending this information, and this is stored in the workflow. The JDF file, which has been created by Ultimate, is being sent to the Smart Stacker hot folder. So what they're doing at the Smart Stacker, then they're just scanning the sheet.
Okay.
They're reading in the barcode.
Yeah,
and then
basically read the code, right?
that's it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, since the information of the JDF is stored in here, they're just taking the JDF from the hot folder, and that's it.
Yeah. And when you say it sounds so easy, but I think it has taken some time to create this, right?
Yeah, but not so long because it's all based on standards.
Yeah. So a company like you really like standard, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's the core of automation. There's no automation without standardization.
One of the things, maybe not so relevant here at the horizon, because it's very much like bound products, like either status stitched or cut products. I was thinking, if you look at the label industry and if you look at also the large format industry, you have a lot of nesting because of material cost. Is that also something you handle here? Okay, so this is not just for commercial printing, it's for all types of
it's for all
printing
types
companies.
of printing, and especially for the large format market, we have a special flavor of the Impress workflow server.
Flavor, is that an XML flavor or is it just the flavor of the software?
It's just the flavor of the software.
I had to ask because we spoke about flavors before, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're using a so-called master profile, and we're using, for example, databases or Excel sheets because.
So you basically can have some kind of data-driven decision making in which kind of tools you're using for it. Okay.
Like for hams, for the large format market, the special needs they have, we're addressing that as well.
Yeah, really nice. Is it a well-used software in Germany, or are you only selling in Germany as Impressed, or?
No. We have customers in Scandinavia, in Sweden and in Denmark, and we have, I think, right now about 35, 40 installations in Germany. But we just started with it a year ago. Okay. But we have a very big installation of Switch.
Yeah.
So
But it must be nice to have something that you own to put on top of it, right? Because you have identified a problem. Now you have also come up with a solution, right? So that must be something that is nice when you go and talk to customers because they probably experience why this is important.
Yeah,
right?
it's a different look and feel. I mean, it's very contrary to Switch because Switch is an admin tool, it's not an operator tool, and this is an operator tool.
Yeah, that's true. Karsten?
Morten?
Thank you.
Thank
it was
you.
great talking to you.